The space shuttle broke through the pink clouds of Vel'Ria, the planet where no one could lie. Evan Cross, a human from Earth, looked out of the window with a small grin on his face. The view was beautiful. Cities made of glass and silver stretched under the bright twin suns. The air shimmered like crystal dust, but deep inside he felt nervous. He had heard stories on this planet. Even thinking of lying made aliens sick. Their minds were built for honesty, their bodies for truth. When he stepped out of the ship, hundreds of alien eyes turned to him. Their faces were soft and shining, with glowing marks across their skin that pulsed when they spoke. A tall guard approached him and said, "Welcome, human traveler. You are rare here." Evan nodded, trying to act calm. "Just here for trade," he said. The guard's markings glowed blue, the color of trust. He handed Evan a translator band. "Be careful, our world is built on truth. One false word can cause panic." Evan smiled faintly. "I'll keep that in mind." As he walked through the market, he noticed how peaceful everything seemed. Vendors sold food that glowed like stars. Machines hummed softly, and aliens talked openly about their feelings. No one hid anything. No one cheated anyone. It was strange for a man who had grown up on Earth, where lies were part of life. He stopped at a small booth where a young alien girl was selling silver fruit. She looked no older than 17 in human years. Her eyes were large and kind, her voice soft when she spoke. "You are the first human I've seen, sir. Be careful here. Some people fear your kind." Evan raised an eyebrow. "Why would they fear me?" She lowered her gaze. "Because you can lie." He laughed. "Who told you that?" The girl looked confused. "Everyone knows humans can lie. It's in your stories, in your history. Our world cannot handle lies, even small ones." Evan smirked. "Then I'll be careful." She looked at him one last time, her glowing eyes full of warning. "Please be careful, human. Truth keeps our world alive." Evan nodded politely and walked away. But his thoughts raced. He had no plan to lie. But he wondered what would happen if he did. What if he tested it? Just one harmless lie? As night fell, the market lights turned to gold. Alien musicians played gentle tones that made the air vibrate. Evan sat by a fountain where traders gambled with colored stones. The rules were simple: guess the number under the cup. He joined in, lost twice, then smiled and said, "I saw your hand." "The number is 3. The alien dealer froze, his body trembling. How could you know?" Evan chuckled. "Lucky guess." The dealer's eyes widened. "You lied," he whispered. Every head turned toward Evan. The air grew heavy. The sound of the fountain stopped. The crowd stared as if he had done something impossible. One alien woman dropped her glass, her skin flickering with panic colors. "He lied." Someone gasped. "He spoke false words and lived." The dealer stepped back, his body glowing in distress. "No one can lie here. Not without pain." Evan felt fine, maybe too fine. The silence grew until a deep voice echoed through the square. "Human." A tall alien with golden skin and royal robes walked forward. Surrounded by guards, his presence silenced everyone. "You lied and survived. That should not be possible." Evan stood tall, trying to hide his nerves. "I didn't mean harm. It was a joke." The noble's eyes glowed red, the color of suspicion. "A joke? Lies do not exist here. Do you understand what you have done? You have broken the sacred rule of Vel'Ria." Whispers filled the air. "He can lie. He can twist truth. He is dangerous." Evan felt dozens of eyes on him, some afraid, some amazed. He took a deep breath. "Maybe it's just a misunderstanding," he said. But deep inside he felt something stir, a strange power. The noble raised a hand. "Take him to the High Council. They will decide his fate." Before the guards could move, the young fruit seller, Sira, ran into the crowd. "Wait, he didn't mean to harm us," she shouted, her voice shaking.
"He doesn't understand our ways." The noble glared at her. "Silence, child."
"He has spoken falsehood and disturbed our harmony." Evan looked at Sira, her glowing eyes filled with fear. He gave her a small nod as if to say thank you. Then he turned to the guards and smiled slightly. "Fine. I'll go with you." As they led him through the glowing streets, aliens whispered his name like a curse and a legend. That night the world of truth had met its first lie. And somewhere deep under the city, the planet began to tremble softly, as if the ground itself had felt it. The human didn't know yet. But one small lie had changed the balance of an entire world. The next morning, the entire planet knew his name, Evan Cross, the human who could lie and live. His face glowed across the hollow screens in every city. Aliens whispered about him in fear, others in curiosity and some in secret admiration. He sat in a cold glass cell inside the Hall of Truth, bright white lights watching his every move. The air itself seemed alive, whispering faint truths through vibration. A voice spoke from the door, calm yet strong. "Human, you have broken our sacred law. No one lies on Vel'Ria." Evan looked up. "Guess I'm special then," he said lightly. The alien elder, a tall figure named Lord Vareth, narrowed his glowing eyes. "Special or cursed? We shall see." He stepped closer. "Tell me, why do you lie?" Evan shrugged. "Where I come from, lying is a tool. Sometimes you need it to survive." Vareth's expression didn't change. "Our people cannot lie. Our bodies reject falsehood. Our minds are pure by design, but you twist reality with words." Evan leaned forward. "Maybe that's why I'm useful," he said softly. The room went silent. The elder tilted his head, curious. "Useful?" Evan smiled slightly. "If I can say what others can't, I can help you control what others believe." Vareth stared at him for a long time, then said, "You think your lies can serve us?" Evan nodded. For the right price, later that day, Sira stood outside the council chamber, clutching a tray of fruit for the guards. Her skin glowed faint yellow, showing her worry. She had heard rumors that the nobles were not planning to punish the human, but to use him. When Evan walked out of the hall hours later, he no longer wore chains. Instead, he wore a silver cloak marked with the seal of the nobles. Sira gasped quietly. "They freed you?" He smirked. "They hired me," she frowned. "Hired you? For what?" Evan grinned. "To tell lies for them." Sira stepped back in shock. "You can't. Every lie you speak breaks the truth resonance. It keeps our minds connected." He gave a careless shrug. "Not my problem, I'm just making a living." Sira's voice trembled. "You're playing with things you don't understand." Evan looked at her for a moment, then turned away. "I understand enough." That night, in a grand banquet hall filled with alien nobles, Evan stood beside Lord Vareth. His task was simple: spread false rumors about Vareth's rival, an alien diplomat named Kalor. Evan lifted a crystal glass and began. "Kalor told me he plans to sell truth crystals to off-worlders." The crowd gasped, their glowing marks flickering with disbelief and panic. Kalor himself shouted, "That's a lie!" Evan smiled. "Yes, it is, but the damage was done." The moment the lie was spoken, the resonance field rippled violently. The air shimmered, lights flickered, and Kalor's mark dimmed. His honor, his truth was gone. Vareth placed a heavy hand on Evan's shoulder. "You see, human, your falsehoods can destroy a man's name in seconds." Evan laughed softly. "And you see why I'm worth every coin." From that night on, Evan became known as the Lie Merchant. Days passed and his influence grew. Every noble wanted him. Some paid him with rare metals, others with alien gems. Some even offered him companionship. Beautiful alien women fascinated by the mystery of a man who could speak falsehood without pain. But the more he lied, the more the planet began to change. The skies grew dimmer. The air vibrated with strange energy. Machines began to malfunction, as if the world itself was sick. Sira watched from afar, her heart heavy. She followed him one evening into the city's lower district. Where the light of truth crystals no longer reached, she found him sitting at a table with two alien traders, lying easily as they handed him piles of glowing coins. "Evan," she called, stepping into the light. He turned surprised. "Sira, you shouldn't be here." She looked at the coins. "You're lying for money." "You said you just wanted to survive." He looked away. "I changed my mind." She clenched her fists. "You're poisoning my world. Every lie tears the truth web, can't you feel it?" He sighed. "I feel richer, if that's what you mean." Sira's eyes glowed bright blue, the color of deep sorrow. "You think this is a game, but soon you'll destroy everything." Evan leaned back in his chair. "Then maybe your world needs a little destruction. Maybe truth isn't always pure." Her voice shook. "And when it all falls apart, what will you have left?" He stared at her for a long time, his smile fading. "Enough to buy my way off this planet." Sira's glow dimmed. "You can't buy peace with lies," she whispered. Then she turned and walked away. Tears shining under the alien moons, Evan watched her go, feeling a small crack inside his chest, but he shook it off. "She'll understand one day," he muttered. Yet that night, when he closed his eyes, he dreamed of her voice, her warning, and the way the stars outside his window flickered like dying truth crystals, somewhere deep beneath the city. The resonance core pulsed violently, struggling to contain the imbalance. And far away, Lord Vareth smiled in the shadows, whispering, "Let him lie. The more he lies, the easier it will be to rule them all." The human had become the most dangerous weapon on the planet, and he didn't even know it yet. Days turned into weeks, and Evan Cross became the most talked-about being on Vel'Ria. His name was whispered in courts, sung in streets, and feared in temples. Every lie he told was like a spark, setting fires of doubt in a world built only on truth. He now lived in a crystal tower in the city's shining heart, gifted by Lord Vareth himself. The walls reflected light so pure it hurt to look at. But Evan didn't care. He had money, luxury, and company. Beautiful alien women whose skin glowed with soft light and whose laughter filled the halls. But deep inside, he couldn't sleep. His dreams were full of faces. Aliens clutching their heads as their minds fractured. Whispers of collapsing truths. Skies bending into false colors. And always, somewhere in the distance, he heard Sira's voice saying, "Every lie you tell breaks the balance." One morning, Sira appeared at his door. Her skin glowed faint blue, the color of calm sorrow. "You've changed," she said softly. "You used to be human." Evan smirked, trying to hide his unease. "Still am, just richer." She stepped closer. "Do you even see what's happening to us?" The truth resonance is fading, people are collapsing mid-speech, and the skies are trembling. He looked away. "That's not my fault, I just talk." "It is your fault," she said sharply. "Your lies spread through the air like poison. The resonance was never meant to bear falsehood. You're tearing the planet's soul." Evan's smirk vanished. Replaced by silence, Sira held out a small crystal, its light flickering weakly. "This was pure before you came, now it struggles to glow. This is what your lies do." Evan took the crystal, stared at it, and whispered, "I didn't mean to break anything." Her voice softened. "Then stop before it's too late." Before he could reply, the door opened and Lord Vareth entered, his golden markings pulsing brightly. "Sira, you shouldn't be here," he said coldly. She glared at him. "You're using him to destroy us." Vareth smiled faintly. "No, child. I'm using him to free us from the chains of truth." Sira's markings flashed red with anger. Truth is not a chain, it's life itself. Evan looked between them, realizing how deep this had gone. "What are you two talking about?" Vareth turned to him. "The truth resonance was made long ago to control us. It keeps us honest but also weak. You human can change that with your lies. I can break the resonance and rebuild it under my rule," Sira gasped. "You'll destroy the entire planet." Vareth's tone grew dark. "Sacrifice is the price of evolution." Evan's heart pounded. "You want me to destroy your world so you can rule it?" Vareth smiled. "Not destroy, reshape, and you will be remembered as the god of words." For a long moment, Evan said nothing. His mind battled between greed and guilt, between the dream of power and the echo of Sira's plea. Finally, he said quietly, "And if I refuse?" Vareth's eyes glowed red. "Then I will find another way, starting with the girl who defies me." Guards stepped forward, grabbing Sira by the arms. She struggled, her glow turning white with fear. "Evan, please." Evan took a step forward, then stopped. The old habit of selfishness whispered in his ear. "It's not your fight," but his hands trembled, and his throat tightened. For the first time in years, he didn't know what to say. Vareth's laughter filled the room. "You see? Even a liar runs out of words when faced with truth." The guards dragged Sira away, and Evan's reflection in the glass showed a man who looked powerful, but hollow. That night, the city shook. The resonance field flickered across the skyline. Truth crystals shattered in homes. Children cried as their parents' voices broke mid-sentence. Evan sat alone, holding the weak crystal Sira had given him. It no longer glowed at all, just a dead stone in his hand. He whispered, "What have I done?" Suddenly, the room filled with light. Sira's mother appeared. Her blind eyes glowing white. She was a seer, known among the aliens as the Truth Keeper. Her voice echoed softly. "You brought lies to a world that wasn't ready, and yet, maybe lies were always needed." Evan stood confused. "Needed? How?" She smiled sadly. "Truth without mercy becomes cruelty. Lies without heart become destruction. You must find the balance, human." He frowned. "Balance? Between truth and lies?" She nodded. "Your lies broke us, but they can also save us if you lie for love. Not greed, Then she disappeared like light fading into dust, leaving Evan alone with her words. He looked out the window, watching the trembling horizon, and whispered, "Lie for love." For the first time, he didn't know what that meant, but he knew where to start. He would find Sierra again. As he stepped outside into the night, a red storm gathered over the city. Lightning twisted like screaming voices in the sky. The world of truth was tearing apart, and only the liar could save it. Evan tightened his cloak and walked into the storm, his mind whispering the one truth he had never admitted before. He cared. The storm over Vel'Ria didn't stop for 3 days. Red lightning flashed across the crystal towers, shaking the sky. The truth resonance, the invisible web that kept every mind honest, was breaking apart. In the middle of it all, Evan Cross walked through the flooded streets, cloak torn, eyes hollow. He had been searching for Sierra since the night she was taken. Every building he passed whispered half-truths. Every alien he saw trembled in confusion. They could no longer tell what was real or false. He found her name written in light on the walls of the council prison. Her glow, her voice gone, he stared at the gate and whispered, "Sierra." A guard appeared behind him. "You shouldn't be here, human." Evan turned slowly. "I'm here for her." The guard hesitated, his markings flickering yellow. "She's being held by order of Lord Vareth." She spoke against him. Evan's jaw clenched. Then he'll answer for that. He took a deep breath. And before the guard could react, he lied. "Lord Vareth sent me to take her." The air trembled. The guard blinked, his eyes wide. He did?" Evan nodded firmly. "He told me it was urgent. Something about the resonance field." The guard's glow turned blue with trust. "Very well, follow me." Evan followed him through long corridors made of light and shadow. The walls hummed with weak energy. He could feel the truth web dying. When they reached her cell, Sierra sat on the floor. Chains made of glowing crystal wrapped around her wrists. Her skin was pale, her glow dim. Yet when she saw him, her eyes lit up for a second. "You came back," she whispered. Evan stepped closer, guilt heavy in his chest. "I should have never let them take you." The guard unlocked her chains and bowed. "I'll report to Lord Vareth." As he left, Sierra frowned. "Evan, what did you tell him?" Evan hesitated. "That Vareth sent me," she gasped. "You lied again?" He looked down. "It was the only way." She shook her head. "Every lie now hurts the planet. Look around you." He did. The ceiling above them was cracking, faint red dust falling like blood. "Then I'll fix it," he said quietly. "I'll end this." They ran through the empty corridors of the council tower. The city outside roared with chaos, people screaming, buildings collapsing. The air was thick with broken truths, some saying the world was ending, others claiming it was reborn. When they reached the Grand Court, Lord Vareth was waiting. His robe shimmered gold, his eyes burning with strange power. He held the broken crystal of the resonance core in his hand. "So," Vareth said with a cold smile, "the liar returns, and brings his little truth-teller with him." Sierra glared. "You've turned our world into madness." Vareth laughed. "Madness? No, freedom. For centuries we were slaves to honesty, chained by truth. Now we can choose our words, our paths, our desires." Evan stepped forward. "You call this freedom? You've killed your people's peace." Vareth's smile faded. "Peace is weakness, lying is strength, and you, human, are the weapon that made me strong." He raised the crystal. "One final lie from you, and I will control everything. I will reshape truth itself." Evan's hands trembled. "You want me to destroy what's left?" "Yes," Vareth said. "Lie for me, and I'll make you king beside me." "Refuse, and she dies." 2 guards dragged Sierra forward, their crystal spears glowing red. She gasped as the light burned her skin. Evan's heart stopped. "Evan, don't," she whispered. "If you lie now, our world ends." He looked at her, tears mixing with rain. "If I don't, you'll die," she smiled weakly. "Then let me die with truth, not live with lies." The room went silent, only the storm outside howled. Evan looked at Vareth, then at Sierra, and whispered, "You're wrong." He stepped closer to Vareth, his voice trembling but strong. "I'll lie, but not for you," Vareth frowned. "What?" Evan shouted. "Vareth is innocent. He never caused this chaos." The hall shook violently. The broken resonance crystal in Vareth's hand exploded into white light. The energy of the lie surged through the court. Tearing apart the pillars, the truth web twisted, confused, uncertain what was real anymore. Sierra screamed as the shockwave threw them all across the floor. Vareth's glow dimmed. his power fading as his own lies unraveled. "What did you do?" he gasped. Evan struggled to his knees. "I lied for the truth." The crystal shards floated in the air, glowing brighter and brighter, until they formed a storm of light, swallowing the room whole. When the light faded, the court was silent. The guards were gone. Vareth lay on the ground, his golden marks dark. Lifeless, Evan turned to Sira, who was barely conscious. Her hand reached for him weakly. "You saved me," she whispered. He shook his head. "I think I broke everything." The air shimmered softly. The resonance was still alive, but twisted. Unstable, Sira tried to stand. "It's not over." Evan nodded, looking out the shattered window where the first dawn light touched the trembling city. "No, it's not," he said, "but I'll make it right." The price of his lies had been too high, and now only one truth remained. He would have to destroy the power that made him special, even if it cost his life, and far away, deep within the planet's heart. The truth resonance began to hum again, as if waiting for the final lie to decide the fate of Vel'Ria. The morning after the explosion, Vel'Ria was unrecognizable. The skies had lost their steady shimmer, half blue, half crimson, torn between truth and falsehood. Cities floated in broken silence, and the air was filled with whispers that no one could trust. Some voices said the resonance was dying. Others claimed it was evolving into something new. Evan Cross stood among the ruins of the Grand Court. His cloak burned, his hands shaking. Beside him, Sira lay unconscious, faint light pulsing weakly through her veins. He touched her cheek softly. "You're alive. Stay with me," he whispered. Everywhere he looked, shards of the truth, crystals floated in the air, glowing dimly. Each shard carried fragments of 1,000,000 truths and lies mixed together. The planet was confused, just like him. He remembered Lord Vareth's last words before he vanished in the blast. "You think you saved her, human? You just killed the truth itself." Evan clenched his fists, his guilt heavier than the broken stones around him. He wanted to believe he had done the right thing, but the silence of the world said otherwise. Then faint footsteps echoed through the hall. Sira stirred and opened her eyes, her voice weak but calm. "You're still here," he smiled faintly. "Where else would I go?" She tried to sit up but winced. "The resonance. I can feel it fading." Evan nodded. "I know, I can feel it too, like the world's heartbeat slowing." She looked into his eyes. "You can fix it, can't you?" He looked away. "Maybe, but every lie I tell breaks it more." Sira took his hand, her skin cold and glowing faintly blue. "Then tell a lie that heals." Evan blinked. "A lie that heals." She nodded slowly. "My mother said your lies can destroy, but they can also mend. It depends on your heart, not your words." He thought of the seer's last warning. Lie for love. "Not greed," he whispered. "If that's true, I know what I have to do." They made their way through the trembling city toward the resonance core. It lay deep beneath the Temple of Truth, a giant sphere of glowing energy that once kept every being honest. Now it pulsed in unstable rhythms, splitting light into painful flashes. Alien citizens ran through the streets, screaming in confusion. Some begged Evan to speak, others cursed his name, calling him the death of truth, but he ignored them all, focused only on the faint light ahead. Sira, guiding him through the chaos. When they reached the temple, the entrance was sealed by collapsing crystal. Evan placed his hands on the gate, feeling warmth flow through it. Sira whispered, "The core knows you, it feels your lies." He nodded. "Then it'll hear one more." They forced the doors open and stepped inside. The chamber glowed with violent energy. The resonance orb hung in midair, cracked and unstable. Its song was a mix of screams and whispers, truth fighting to stay alive. Evan stepped forward, his reflection shattered in the surface of the orb. Sira called out, "Be careful, it might kill you." He smiled softly. "It's not the first time I've done something stupid." He placed his hand on the orb, and it burned like fire. The air around him shimmered, showing flashes of his past lies, every word he'd twisted, every truth he'd broken. Voices whispered from the light. "You are the false one. You brought chaos," he shouted back. "Yes, I lied. But this time I'll lie for something real." The orb's surface cracked wider and waves of truth energy surged through the chamber. Sira screamed as the light surrounded them both. Then, Evan whispered the lie that would decide the fate of their world. He closed his eyes and said softly, "Everything is fine, Vel'Ria is safe. The truth is whole again, it was a lie. A perfect lie spoken with love, not greed." The orb glowed brighter, its chaotic pulses slowing, calming, stabilizing for a moment. Everything stood still. Sierra fell to her knees, her eyes wide as she felt the world's balance returning. The tremors stopped. The skies outside shifted from red to soft silver. The resonance began to hum again, not pure, not perfect, but alive. The lie had healed it because he meant it to, but the light around Evan grew too bright. Sierra rushed to him. "Evan!"
Stop, it's too much.
He smiled weakly, his voice fading. Someone has to carry the lie forever, so the truth can live. Her tears fell onto his hands. Glowing as they touched, he whispered one last time, "Don't forget me, Sierra." Then the light swallowed him whole. When the brightness faded, Sierra was alone. The resonance orb floated peacefully above her, glowing with soft golden light. The planet was quiet again, the balance restored. She looked around desperately, calling his name. But Evan was gone. In his place at the center of the chamber floated a small crystal, shaped like a human heart, pulsing faintly with warmth. Sierra held it close to her chest, whispering, "You lied to save us." The world outside began to heal slowly. But in every corner of Vel'Ria, people spoke in awe of the human who told one perfect lie, a lie so strong it rewrote the stars. And deep within the crystal heart, Evan's last thought echoed through the resonance itself. Maybe the greatest truth a man can tell is the lie he gives to protect others. The world of Vel'Ria was silent after the storm. The skies no longer shimmered pure blue, but flickered between colors, truth and lie twisting together like two sides of a coin. The resonance had survived, but it was not the same, and neither was Sierra. She stood at the top of the old truth temple, holding the faintly glowing crystal heart, the last remnant of Evan Cross. The air around her hummed softly, carrying whispers of his voice through the new resonance web. Maybe the greatest truth, the echo said, is the lie told for love. Sierra closed her eyes, feeling tears run down her cheeks. She could still sense him somewhere inside the energy field. Alive but unreachable, every part of Vel'Ria still vibrated with his final lie, the one that had saved them. And yet, she could feel something else, an imbalance. Growing deeper, the resonance was healing, but its tone was wrong. It hummed with human emotion, guilt, sadness, and longing. Vel'Ria's people could now feel things they never had before: envy, joy, doubt, and hope. It was both a blessing and a curse. Weeks passed, and the alien world began to rebuild. But the once perfect harmony of truth had vanished. Now some could lie, just a little, only in small ways. A mother telling her sick child, "You'll be fine." A soldier promising, "I'll come back." It didn't destroy the resonance, it made it deeper, more human. The High Council gathered again, this time led by Sierra. She stood before the crowd, holding the glowing crystal heart in her hands. "This," she said softly, "is what saved us. A human's lie born from compassion." An elder stood up, his markings flickering gold. "Are you saying lies are good now?" Sierra shook her head. "No, not good, not bad. They are choices, just like truth." The hall fell silent. The people of Vel'Ria had never known choice before. They had always spoken what was real, what was certain. Now, they could choose, and it frightened them. Sierra continued, "We were pure, yes, but we were also blind. Truth gave us peace but took away our hearts. Now we know both truth and falsehood, and only together can we be whole." The crowd watched her as she lifted the crystal heart higher. It glowed brighter, pulsing with warmth. Evan's light filled the chamber, spreading through the city. Wherever it touched, people felt human, but as peace slowly returned, strange things began to happen some nights. The sky would flicker red again. Some places, the ground trembled as if remembering the pain of the lies. And sometimes, only sometimes, Sierra could hear his voice whisper through the wind. Not echoes, not memory, but real. One night, unable to sleep, she went back to the temple where it all began. She placed the crystal on the ancient altar and whispered, "Evan, if you can hear me, please answer." For a long moment there was nothing. Then the crystal pulsed once, faintly, and a voice, soft but steady, filled the room. "Sierra." Her eyes widened. "Evan? Is that really you?" "Yes," the voice said, trembling like light. "But not as I was. The resonance took me in. I'm part of it now." She fell to her knees, tears glowing on her cheeks. "You saved us. But at what cost?" His laughter was weak like a fading wind, A small price for a second chance, she shook her head. You're not just a voice, you're alive in there. You could rebuild yourself. There was silence, then his voice returned. Gentler. If I do, the balance will break again. The resonance holds because I'm still lying, still saying everything is fine. Sira froze, realizing what he meant. His final lie hadn't ended. It was still active, keeping the resonance stable by deceiving the universe itself. If he stopped lying, Vel'Ria would collapse again. No, she whispered. That's not fair. You can't carry that forever, he replied softly. Someone has to. That's the price of a human's lie. Sira touched the crystal, her voice breaking. Then let me share it. The crystal flickered brighter, and the air shimmered as her energy flowed into it. For a heartbeat, she felt his presence, warm, human, real, and he whispered, Sira, don't do this. She smiled through tears. If truth and lie can't live apart, then neither can we. Light burst from the altar, spreading across the sky like dawn. When it faded, the temple was silent again. The next morning, the people of Vel'Ria awoke to find the world finally still. The storms had ended, the skies soft and silver again, and 2 new stars glowed in the heavens side by side, one blue, one gold. From that day on, the aliens told a new story, not of perfect truth, but of a lie that brought love, and they whispered the names of the 2 who changed their world forever. Evan Cross, the human who lied, and Sira, the alien who believed him. Years passed on Vel'Ria, and the scars of the Great Collapse turned into legends. The skies were calm again, neither pure blue nor blood red, but a gentle silver haze that shimmered between truth and memory. The people had changed, they still spoke truth as they were born to, but now they carried within them a spark, a human gift, the power to choose when to speak. And when to stay silent, no one feared lies anymore. They had learned that words were not weapons or miracles, but reflections of the heart that spoke them. At the center of the capital stood a monument of light, a floating sculpture shaped like 2 hands touching. One human, one alien. Inside it pulsed the resonance crystal, the last remnant of Evan and Sira, still glowing softly, still alive in some quiet way. Whenever the wind blew, it whispered fragments of 2 voices. Hers calm, his warm. Their story had become a song, sung in schools, prayed in temples, written in stars. A young alien boy named Rin stood before the monument one day, his small eyes wide with wonder. Teacher, he asked, is it true a human saved our world with a lie? The old instructor smiled, her markings glowing faint yellow. Yes, child, he lied to heal, not to harm. Rin tilted his head, confused. But my parents say lying is still wrong. The teacher nodded. It is if you do it for greed, but sometimes truth can wound, and a gentle lie can save. The boy looked at the monument again, whispering, I wish I could meet him. A soft voice echoed from the monument, carried by the wind. You already have, little one. Every time you speak with kindness, Rin gasped. He spoke. The teacher smiled knowingly. He speaks to those who listen with heart. Far beneath the monument, deep in the resonance core, light flowed like rivers. Carrying memories of the past, 2 figures shimmered within it. Evan and Sira, no longer of flesh but of energy. They walked together through endless fields of silver mist, their forms glowing faintly. Evan looked at her, smiling softly. So this is what forever feels like, Sira returned the smile. Peaceful, isn't it? He chuckled. Peaceful and quiet. I never thought I'd miss noise, she laughed gently. You always needed chaos to feel alive. They paused by a stream of light, watching echoes of the living world above. Children laughing, traders bargaining, lovers whispering half-truths under silver moons. Evan whispered. They're learning fast, Sira nodded. Your world taught us choice, our world taught you purity. Together, we became something new. He reached for her hand, their lights merging slightly. You know, I used to think lies were power. And now? She asked softly. Now I know the truth, he said. Power isn't in lying, it's in what you lie for. Their forms glowed brighter, the resonance field around them stabilizing as their unity pulsed through every corner of Vel'Ria. On the surface, life bloomed again. Cities rebuilt with both truth crystals and human-designed circuits. New schools taught 2 ancient philosophies, the logic of truth and the compassion of choice. The banner of Vel'Ria bore both symbols, the clear circle of honesty and the broken line of humanity. And every year, on the anniversary of the Great Collapse, The people gathered beneath the monument of the liar, as they lovingly called it. They sang songs not of sorrow but of gratitude. Their voices joined the resonance, carrying music across the stars. That night, as the celebration echoed, a faint pulse traveled through the monument, brighter than ever before. The sky lit up with twin beams of light, one gold, one blue, rising together into the clouds from every direction. People gasped as two ghostly shapes appeared above the horizon, a human and an alien hand in hand made of light and energy. Looking down at the world they saved, Evan's voice rolled through the heavens, warm and gentle. Truth lives when it learns to forgive. And Sira's voice followed, soft and clear. And lies heal when they are born from love. Then both lights rose higher, merging into a single beam that vanished into the stars. The people bowed their heads, silent, knowing they had just witnessed the final message of their saviors. Centuries later, when humans finally returned to Vel'Ria, they found a peaceful world. They met aliens who smiled easily, who could lie and laugh and love just like them. And when they asked, "Who taught you this?" the aliens always answered the same: a man who lied to save us, and a girl who believed him at night. Travelers from Earth would look up and see two stars glowing side by side, one gold, one blue, and they'd whisper the same story that had become legend across galaxies. On a planet where no one could lie, one human lied for love, and in doing so, taught the universe the truth.